You know your name, age, and address, right? But get ready for a mind-blowing revelation. None of that stuff actually defines you. Your name isn't your essence, your body isn't your identity, and your past doesn't dictate your future. You're infinitely bigger than you think, yet most people live completely oblivious to their true nature. They react to impulses, repeat routines, grind relentlessly, and the result? Most end up broke, aimless, and drowning in frustration. All because they never ask the fundamental question, who am I really? Give me just 3 minutes and an open mind, and I'll show you how to find that answer. You identify with your label, your packaging, what others think of you. But that's all surface noise. Your name was slapped on you before you even knew language. Your body, it's just the vehicle. Those tags, lazy, slow, average, rebellious, insecure, they're just labels. Labels you accepted without question. That's where you started losing yourself. Most people drift through life completely unaware they're existing as a pale imitation of themselves. A photocopy of parental dictates, classroom lessons, playground taunts, societal expectations, trapped in a cycle of disappointment because deep down, it's not their life they're living. How many times have you repeated actions you despise? Felt powerless, going through the motions, conforming or worse, just because everyone else does? Let me ask you something straight. When was the last time you truly asked yourself, who am I? Fundamentally. Not what you do, not your job title, not your last name. I'm talking about your core being. Most will answer, oh, I'm John, I'm 34, I live in Chicago, I'm an engineer. But is that really it? John is a moniker. 34 years is just the Earth's rotation count since your birth. Engineer is a profession, not your identity. You don't say, I am arm, I am leg. You say, my arm, my leg. Same goes for your name, job, age. They're possessions, not your essence. And that's where life changes. When you realize your essence is formless, limitless, unlabeled, you discover you can become anything you choose, because what you truly are is a powerful spiritual being, capable of creating, thinking, feeling, and transforming reality. But here's the catch. Almost nobody teaches this. Schools don't. Society doesn't want you to find out. And most people don't even consider the possibility. They're too busy surviving, paying bills, trying to fit into predefined molds. The result? 95% of people react to life. They don't live it. They work 40 years, wait for retirement, and end up with almost nothing, financially and emotionally. That's not depressing. It's liberating. Because if most live on autopilot, then breaking free from that programming unlocks extraordinary potential. But it takes grit, the grit to stop, to look in the mirror and say, I'm not what they told me I am, I'm so much more. That's where true transformation begins. Now consider this. Why the fear of change? Why cling to a soul-crushing routine? Why settle for less when you deserve more? Because you were conditioned to conform. Since childhood you heard, don't rock the boat, don't make waves, don't dream too big. You learned to follow rules, but never to create your own life. And look, I used to be that guy. I saw myself as just another nobody. I dropped out of school, pumped gas, changed oil. I had no aspirations. In fact, I didn't even know I could have aspirations, until a man named Ray Stanford looked me in the eye and said, Bob, if you don't like the results of your life, you need to change you. Because those results are yours. They only exist because you allowed them. At that moment it seemed simple, but it was like a blindfold fell from my eyes. I realized I'd never truly examined myself. I didn't know who I was, only who I thought I should be to please others. That's when I began studying my mind, seeking answers within, not without. And everything changed, because when you understand who you are, you stop comparing. You stop hiding. You stop begging for approval. You start creating. Choosing, steering your own ship. So if you're listening now and feel like you're living in the shadows, it's time to turn on the light. You weren't put on this earth to merely survive. You're here to express yourself, your true self. Not what you were told to be, but what you were born to be. And if you don't know what that means yet, that's okay. The first key is simple. Start questioning everything you've always accepted as truth. Be curious, be tenacious, and above all, be brutally honest with yourself, because the answer to who you really are has always been inside you, waiting for you to ask. The most powerful force within you isn't your physique, your brawn, or your IQ, it's your conditioning, and the most dangerous part, almost nobody realizes they're conditioned. You wake up, drink the same coffee, think the same thoughts, feel the same emotions, repeat the same behaviors every single day, and wonder why your life doesn't change. But the answer is simple. You're stuck in an invisible program installed since childhood. From birth, you absorb everything around you like a sponge. And I'm not just talking about learning to walk or talk. I'm talking about subtler things, how your family handled money, failure, relationships, self-worth. If you grew up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees, poor people stay poor, or that's not for people like us. Guess what you believe to this day, even without realizing it? You were conditioned to think small, and the tragedy is, this conditioning resides in your subconscious, controlling your decisions without your knowledge. I often say there are two kinds of prisons, one with walls and one without. The one with walls, you notice. The one without walls, you call life. Now think about it. How many people do you know who are good at what they do but are drowning in debt, or are brilliant but terrified of making decisions, or have incredible talents but believe success is only for the lucky? It's not a lack of ability, it's conditioning. You may have been conditioned to live in fear, guilt, scarcity, but that doesn't mean you have to stay there. But to change, you need to understand this. What you believe about yourself, the world, and what's possible was taught to you. It's not an unquestionable truth. It's just programming. And what's even more surprising, this internal conditioning is reinforced by the external environment. If you're surrounded by people who complain about life, believe nothing ever works out, live on autopilot, you're highly likely to absorb that. Your environment shapes you, even when you think you're immune. And that was the second big shock in my life. After I started making money with my cleaning business, I realized that even with the income rolling in, I was still sabotaging myself. I'd land contracts, but delay delivery. I'd earn well, but spend it all recklessly. Why? Because deep down, I still believed I wasn't worthy, that I was just an average Joe with temporary luck. That's when I understood that true success isn't about what you achieve externally, it's about what you transform internally. You can achieve things through effort, but if your mind is programmed to lose, you will lose everything. And that's what made me dive headfirst into the study of the human mind. Let me share a statistic that might scare you, but needs to be said. According to Northwestern Mutual, almost 70% of adults live with high financial stress, not for lack of opportunity, but because of ingrained mental habits, negative beliefs, fear of growth, feelings of inadequacy, and what's most frustrating, it's all learned, and what's learned can be reprogrammed. But don't expect it to happen overnight. Changing your conditioning is like rowing upstream. You'll feel resistance, you'll want to revert to old patterns, but that's where you need to persevere. And if you ask me now, where do I start? I'd say, start observing. Observe your thoughts, your reactions, your emotions, your daily decisions. Do you usually think about possibilities or limitations first? Do you act with faith or fear? Start questioning the advice you hear too. Who are the people around you? Do they live the kind of life you want to live? If not, why continue accepting their opinions as absolute truth? Don't ask your financially struggling neighbor how to get rich. Don't ask relationship advice from someone in a miserable marriage. Seek inspiration from those living what you desire. That's not arrogance, it's emotional intelligence. And if you'll allow me one challenge, for the next 3 days, write down everything you think about money, success, and worthiness. Everything. Be radically honest. You'll be surprised by the number of limiting beliefs you carry, but don't panic, because by becoming aware of them, you take the first step towards freedom. Your current conditioning got you here, but it doesn't have to take you further. You can rewrite that code, and when you do, you'll be amazed by the power you've always had, and which was merely dormant. Want to know the real reason your life hasn't changed yet despite all the courses, books, and attempts? I'll tell you, it's because you haven't yet understood how your mind really works. And as long as that's unclear, every step you take will feel like running with an anchor tied to your ankle. The truth is, your body is merely an extension of your mind, but not in the way they usually teach. See, when you think, you generate images. Those images create feelings. Those feelings directly influence your actions. In other words, everything you do is a consequence of what you think and feel. And here's the key. You can control your thoughts, but almost nobody does, because we've been trained to believe that thoughts are like clouds in the sky. They appear and disappear on their own. But that's not true. Thought is choice. You can consciously decide what to focus on, what to think, what to reject. But if you don't take control, your subconscious programming takes over, and it will lead you to the same old places. Frustration, fear, inertia. I learned this the hard way. Even after transforming my financial life, I realized something was still off. I had money, but I was still restless. It felt like I was at war with myself. And it wasn't until I started studying the workings of the mind deeply, especially the concepts of Napoleon Hill, that I understood. The thoughts you nurture don't just affect your feelings, they completely shape your reality. If you build an image of a life full of limitations, failures, and scarcity, your body will obey that script. It will hesitate, procrastinate, self-sabotage. But if you nurture the image of an abundant life, of a strong, capable, prosperous self, then your whole system begins to operate at that new level. You may not notice immediately, but the small details change. Your tone of voice, your posture, the way you look people in the eye, your energy shifts, and life responds to that shift with opportunities, connections, clarity. Let me show you how this works in practice. Let's say you're unemployed. You wake up and your first thought is, there are no jobs for me. That thought brings frustration. Frustration generates anxiety. Anxiety makes you avoid calling companies, postpone sending resumes, or even deliver them with that air of defeat nobody wants to see. Result, nothing changes, and you conclude you were right. There are no jobs for me. But let's rewrite this scenario. You wake up, take a deep breath, and consciously choose to think, today I will find the opportunity I need. That generates hope. Hope changes your energy. You dress better, speak with more enthusiasm, act with more lightness. You take different actions, and those actions produce different results. It's not magic, it's logic. It's like the law of gravity. You don't need to believe in it for it to work. So, it is with your mind. It all starts with thought. And if you keep thinking the same way, you'll feel the same way and you'll act the same way. There's no escaping it. Albert Einstein said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." And that's absolutely true. The way you imagine your life is the blueprint of what you will build in the physical world. You will never build a reality that contradicts what you see in your mind. If you want to change your life, you need to change your mental image, and that's not mystical mumbo-jumbo. Studies from Harvard University on neuroplasticity show that the brain changes according to the thoughts you repeat frequently. In other words, when you repeat a new mental image every day, you create new neural connections. Your brain literally begins to function differently. But beware, just thinking positively isn't enough if it's superficial. You need to feel what you think. Visualize with such clarity that your body reacts as if it were already real. Because when you feel as if you already have what you want, your nervous system responds, your brain releases different substances, your physiology changes, and then, yes, the universe begins to conspire in your favor. Have you heard of Jim Carrey? Before he became a Hollywood star, he wrote himself a symbolic check for $10 million, dated 5 years into the future. He carried that check with him every day. He felt as if he had already received it. And exactly 5 years later, he received a $10 million contract for one of his films. Coincidence? Or did he understand the power of mental imagery? And do you know what the most amazing part is? You can do this too. You can right now start imagining the life you want in detail. Close your eyes and see, hear, feel. Because as I always say, if you can see it in your mind, you can have it in your hands. But you need to practice, train your focus, train your imagination, and most importantly, train your faith. Faith isn't believing what you see. Faith is believing in what you don't yet see, but feel so strongly that you know it will come. So start today. Choose your thoughts like you choose the seeds you plant in a garden. Reject the ones that no longer serve you. Cultivate the ones that uplift you. And remember, you are not a product of what happened to you. You are the creator of what you believe. And what you believe in consistently becomes who you are. Have you noticed that there are people with talent to spare, above average intelligence, opportunities at their fingertips, but who simply don't progress? Ever wondered why? Most of the time, what prevents someone from thriving isn't a lack of ability, but a distorted, negative, and limited self-image. How you see yourself determines how far you believe you can go. And here's the point. You will never exceed the limits you have imposed on yourself. Self-image is like an internal thermostat. If you see yourself as average, even if you achieve something greater, you'll soon sabotage everything to return to your comfort level. That's what I experienced, and have seen thousands of people experience. For a long time, even while teaching about personal development, I found myself having limiting thoughts about myself. Deep down, the voice would say, "You didn't finish school. You're not like the others. You just got lucky." And that voice, even though invisible, controlled decisions, blocked actions, and sabotaged growth. That's when I delved into the studies of Dr. Maxwell Maltz. He was a plastic surgeon who noticed something fascinating. After operating on someone's face, sometimes their life would change completely. They would become more confident, more open, happier. But other times, even with a transformed face, the person remained insecure, withdrawn, unhappy. And why? Because the physical image had changed, but the internal image, the self-image, remained the same. In other words, it's not what others see that transforms your life. It's what you see when you close your eyes. You can have an impeccable resume, live in an upscale neighborhood, have many followers on social media. But if, inside you still see yourself as worthless, insecure, or mediocre, you will continue to act in a way that confirms that belief. It's like someone who won a luxury car, but drives it like they're in an old clunker, with fear, with shame, thinking they don't belong on that road. The car can change, but if the identity remains the same, the life experience doesn't change, and self-image is reflected in everything. The way you walk, talk, behave. The way you relate to money, opportunities, people. It even influences how much you accept to receive, emotionally and financially. Want proof of that? How many times have you refused compliments, or minimized your achievements, or thought you didn't deserve a promotion, a lasting romantic relationship, a better life? That's not humility, it's a wounded self-image, and if you identified with that, don't blame yourself. We weren't born with low self-esteem, we learned to have it. Often because of criticism, trauma, negative experiences, or because we were compared to others our entire lives. And the worst part, most people don't even realize they carry a distorted self-image. They think they're realistic, that they're just being sensible. But what they're actually doing is living inside an invisible cage made from the opinions and experiences of the past. But that cage can be opened and you can get out, but not with physical effort, with visualization, with repetition, with emotion. If you want to change your self-image, you need to start seeing yourself in a new way, every day. Not superficially, but deeply, emotionally, authentically. And I'll tell you exactly how to do it. Sit in silence for a few minutes. Breathe deeply. Close your eyes and start imagining the most powerful version of yourself. How does this version dress? How does it speak? How does it relate? How does it solve problems? How does it handle money, success, challenges, see, hear, feel? Visualize every detail meticulously. When you're finished, write down this image. Record phrases on paper like, I possess self-confidence. I respect and value my potential. I deserve prosperity. I am a successful person. Review these affirmations daily, even if they seem improbable initially. Over time, your mind will assimilate this new identity. And when the mind accepts it, the body responds. Your actions transform, your posture changes, the tone of your voice changes, and the world begins to treat you like this new version. Have you ever observed people who seemed insignificant and suddenly became examples to follow? Individuals once ignored and then admired. Want to transform your life? Seriously, then ditch the vague wishes and tell me exactly what you want, because more money, more happiness, prosperity, those are just fluffy desires. They lack the punch to change anything. Most people spend their lives yearning, but without clarity. Their dreams remain frustratingly elusive. How can the universe deliver something you haven't even defined? Ordering something at a restaurant gets you, well, something. Maybe not what you crave, but ordering a specific burger. That's how you get exactly what you want. Life's the same. Be precise. This isn't about positive thinking mumbo-jumbo. It's about the power of laser-focused intention. Think Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. Successful people didn't start with hazy desires. They started with crystal-clear goals. Grab a card, yes, a card, and write down exactly what you want. Not, I want a lot of money, but I am so happy and grateful to receive $20,000 a month with freedom and purpose. Feel the difference? This isn't wishful thinking, it's a precise command to your subconscious. It starts unlocking opportunities you never saw, attracting the right people, paving the way to your success. But don't just write it and forget it. Read it daily, first thing and last thing. Immerse yourself in the feeling. Visualize, believe, feel it in your bones. It's like planting a seed. You don't expect an oak tree overnight. You nurture it, water it, protect it. That's how you cultivate success. Doubt will creep in. Your mind will try to sabotage you. You can't do this, it whispers. It's not for you. Don't listen, breathe, and tell that negative voice to buzz off. You choose what you believe. That's the difference between dreamers and doers, the ability to reject self-doubt and hold on to your vision. This isn't just motivational fluff. After leaving the fire service, I had no clue how to start a business. But I wrote on a card that my cleaning company would make over $100,000 in a year. I read it daily. At first, it felt crazy. A former public servant, no specific training, no connections, but I believed. I acted like I was already there, and I hit that goal within a year. Walt Disney visualized Disneyland in meticulous detail before it existed. He didn't just dream, he planned, designed, built. You can do the same. Don't wait for perfect timing or extra money or a surge of confidence. Start now with what you have. Write it down in the present tense, with feeling. Carry that card, read it, feel it, believe it, and act as if it's already true. A believing mind finds paths. A feeling body moves with purpose. When your energy aligns with your goal, the universe conspires to help. You don't need a roadmap, just a crystal clear destination. The path unfolds as you walk. Believe it, and your belief will create the fact. Look at successful people. A common thread is their attitude, not degrees, IQ, or luck. It's attitude, how you think, feel, and act. If your life's stagnant, your results mediocre, your relationships hollow, your finances a mess, it's likely your attitude. You might have knowledge, experience, opportunities, but a weak, negative attitude repels what you desire. I learned this firsthand. Early on, I devoured self-help books and seminars, but I realized nothing would change until my attitude changed. Attitude is governed by the law of polarity. Everything has two sides. A late bill, you can sink into despair or see it as a temporary learning experience. Losing a client, it's either I'm a failure or this opens the door for a better client. You choose. Attitude is a lens, and you can adjust it. It's not a switch you flip. It's trained, nurtured, reinforced daily. It's how you react to setbacks. Choose gratitude over complaints. Trust instead of doubt. Most people live in constant distrust of themselves, others, life. That energy repels goodness. But faith, gratitude, courage, they open doors. Ideas flow. The right people appear. I worked with a company in crisis. Tense atmosphere, apathetic employees, stressed leadership. One manager applied what I teach. He changed his communication style, motivating his team, recognizing small wins. The environment shifted. Sales increased. Discouraged employees thrived. The company strategy remained the same. The energy changed. Attitude is energy, and energy is contagious. Have you been in a silent room with palpable tension, or near someone so positive it lifts your spirits? That's attitude in action. How do you respond when things go wrong? Do you complain or take responsibility? Do you shut down or seek to learn? Be honest. Your response dictates what you attract. You aren't a statue. You're a conscious being with choices. You can start today. Tomorrow morning, before your phone, before your complaints, say aloud, "Today, I choose a winning attitude." Repeat it. Feel it. Act like it's true. Life will respond. For a challenge, pick one attitude to cultivate for 14 days. Patience, gratitude, courage, focus. Consistently act as if it's already part of you. After 14 days, you'll see a profound shift, because your attitude will have changed, and with it your reality. Your reality starts within. The external world is a reflection of your thoughts, feelings, actions. It's entirely under your control. So the question is simple. What attitude will you choose starting today? Stick around for the next video. It will deepen your journey. You'll level up, become a better you. Thanks for being here. See you there.